Hello, this is Alex with the Salvation Army, back again with 5 new drum beats to learn that's going to involve some variation with our snare drum. So in our last lesson, we learned some kick drum variations, and today we're going to do actually a little bit of both. We're going to move our kick drum around, we're going to move our snare drum around, and ultimately what we're trying to do here is to get a little bit more freedom and flow around the drum kit and just to feel more comfortable in general. So let's go ahead and get started. So for our first beat we have here, it's going to be very similar to what we've learned in the past already. So we have a kick drum on 1, we have a snare drum on 2, we have 2 kick drums on 3 and we have actually 2 snare drums on 4 and. So what that's going to sound like, nice and slow, is something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So like I said, very similar to things we've learned in the past, except we're going to have 2 snare drums in a row right at the end there. Let's speed that one up and see what it sounds like when we get a little bit more comfortable with it. Great job. Let's move on to our next beat. Here we have, again, just like our first beat we just learned, we're going to have a kick drum on 1. We're going to have our snare on 2, and then we're going to have another kick drum on 3, and this time instead of having a snare drum on 4, we're going to have our snare on the and of 3, so directly after that kick drum on 3. We're going to finish this one off with the final kick drum on the and of 4, which rolls back into 1, so we got to be a little bit careful here. This is what it's going to sound like though. 1 and 2 and let's speed that up and see what that sounds like when we have it all comfortable and feeling good. Great job. So that's a cool little variation there when we move our snare drum from 4 up to the and of 3. Let's keep going here. Next beat we have, similar to the 2 we just did, kick drum on 1 to start us off. We're going to keep our snare drum on 2. We're going to have another kick drum on 3. We're going to have 2 snare drums on the and of 3 and 4. And then a kick drum on the and of 4. Sounds like a lot, but let's play it and see what we got. 1 and 2 Great, let's speed that up a little bit. That one's fun. Let's move on to our 4th beat. Same thing to begin with. We have our kick drum on 1. We're going to have 2 snare drums on 2 and. We're going to have a kick on 3. We're going to have 2 more snare drums on and 4. And then we're going to finish it off with our final kick drum on the and of 4, which leads us straight back into 1. So let's see what we got. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 Let's speed that up and see what we got. Great job. Let's keep going. Our 5th and final beat here today is going to be a little bit different, a little bit tricky, but it's actually pretty cool once we get it down. So we're actually going to start off with the snare drum on 1. Right after that, we're going to have 2 kick drums on and 2, snare drum on the and of 2, 2 kick drums on 3 and, last snare hit on 4, last kick drum on the and of 4. So for this beat, we're playing something with every single eighth note of our measure, either our snare or our kick drum, kind of moving it around a little bit. So like I said, it's a little bit different, starting directly on our snare, but let's see what we got. Let's take this one nice and slow. Here we go. 1 This one sounds really cool when we get comfortable and speed it up. This is what we got. Great job. So these are fantastic new beats to add to your repertoire. Continue practicing, keep playing until you get these ones down, and we'll see you next time.